Melon and Jeeper here, and a lot of you want to know how I rewrap my sun visors. Now that my wife is not here to see me use spray adhesive on the dining room table, let me show you how. Let's go. Okay, so here are the things you're going to need. You obviously are going to need the visor. You're going to need, this is about 21 inches by 25 inches of fabric. I got a couple of razor blades. You're definitely going to need those. Screwdriver, a marker is kind of optional. Pen is kind of optional. You'll see why. And I'm using Permatex automotive headliner adhesive. You can use whatever flavor you would like, but these are the things that you're going to need. Okay, so here's how we're going to start. We're going to draw a smiley face all the way around to here and all the way up to the top there, leaving that intact. And we're going to do that on both sides. So let me knock that out right quick. I'm doing this one-handed, so it may not go all the way through, and I may have to do a little bit off camera. But we're gonna do it just like that until you cut all the way through the fabric on both sides. Okay, now what we have done by making that U shape like this is we have revealed these little connections here. They're all the way around. Now, let me tell you, this little floppy piece, be very careful with that floppy piece because they like to break. So what we're gonna do with our pin here is we're gonna wedge our pin just right there. I'm gonna do it off camera, but we're gonna wedge it in right there in between the two pieces of plastic. Okay, so we got that one loose, and I'll show you what they look like in just a moment, and you'll understand better of what I did, but be very careful because these clips in there, they really like to break. And what I've done is I've moved my wedge from over here to over here. It kind of does matter where you start. It's probably best to start from one end versus the middle like I just did, but don't start from this end because this piece here, that little floppy piece, he can be a little fragile. So again, I'm gonna stick my screwdriver in that hole there. Actually, I need to come over here. And see it released itself off of there. So now I'm gonna go to the next one. After moving my wedge a little bit, I'll be right back. Okay, now we're at the point of no return for sure. If we weren't there when we cut it with the razor. All right, so now you're gonna be tempted to open this up now that you've got all these clips out that we're gonna take a look at in just a moment. But don't do that. What you wanna do is, it's gonna happen in two parts. You're gonna wanna pull that off. You're gonna pull this rubber piece off right there, okay? This is very important. And then you wanna pull this pin out here. I can't do it with one hand, so you just pull it straight out, okay? Be right back. Okay, so it just comes right out. You may have to put a little force on it, perhaps get some pliers. But you will break your visor if you do not take that piece out. You'll break it, you won't figure out how to get it all back together. That's the last thing that we're gonna put back in, remember that. All right, so now let's get this thing opened up. Like a so. And from here on out, it's actually gonna get pretty easy. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this old fabric and get it off of there, and we'll set it on top of the new fabric. Okay, so nothing special here. You just wanna lay that out. Now I've got my fabric face down on the table. So, and then I've got this also on the table, which essentially would be face down, right? So I'm gonna take my handy dandy Sharpie located here, and I'm just gonna trace out probably about, I'm not even gonna push this edge down, right? I'm just gonna look at it with my eyeball because we don't have to be precise at this point, or at any point, actually. You'll see why. But anyway, I'm just gonna come out Make sure you come out a ways though, because you don't want to cut it too short. So I'd come out probably about an inch from where it folds over right here. Cut all the way around, paying real close attention to the split right here. That right there is split on purpose. And it's actually split with a little hole right there. So you'll want to try to replicate that as best as possible. And this right here is not as important. So I'm going to trace this out and then I'm going to cut it out. I'm not going to film it because you guys are smarter than that. All right, so we'll be back. Okay, but for those of you who needed to see this, this is what it looks like now. This is where your vanity mirror goes. I did mark where that was for my own purposes, but that's up to you if you want to do that or not. I'd go ahead and mark it, but this is a rough cut of what we're doing. Now I'm gonna cut this out. Okay, so now this is basically what we have. It's a little shorter on this end than I would have liked, but I think we're gonna be able to make it. So right here, all you wanna do is, now that you got it laid down, you just wanna shoot the edges here with a little glue. Make sure you get that on camera. Oh. Try not to leave any evidence. Let me clean this off, I'll be back. Okay, here's basically what we got. We're gonna try this again. Got a little bottle malfunction there. So we just wanna do the edges of this with just a real light coat. Nothing too much. And then, if you don't get that thing stuck to your finger, you just want to take this and set it to the side. Uh-oh. And then you want to take your glue and just kind of, you don't even need a lot. Just put a few spritzes in there. You really don't even need to do that actually, but it helps me for this next step. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take this thing and make sure I got it semi where I need it. And boom, just gonna lay it down. And that is where it is going to stay. Hopefully. Okay, hopefully that's where it stays. We're just gonna let that sit right there for just a moment, and then we're gonna go in, starting one side at a time. There's these little spikes here. I don't know if you can see them, but those little spikes are spikier than spike. And when you pull this fabric over onto it, these spikes are not gonna let it move. It's really cool. So I'm gonna start just by folding it over like this, just from one side, fairly tightly. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See how the spikes and the glue kind of help just hold it there? Pretty easy, but keep in mind, I want to show you this one thing. There's a line that goes right there. Oh, and it's super sticky. It goes right there all the way around, all the way around. You don't want any fabric past that point. So I'm actually going to use that line right there as an edge. When I go around it with my razor blade, I'm going to use that as an edge to help cut the excess fabric off as I go around, if there is any. So if I had a tripod, I'd show you how I work this around, but it's exactly what I did there. I just folded it over. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, we've got the first side just, I mean, it's pretty tight. On the other side, you don't have to worry about pulling it tight on the other side because the glue has already done that for you. I'm gonna work around to the other side. Remember, like I was saying, that line right there, this fabric doesn't quite go all the way to the line, which is good as long as it goes over the spikes. This right here, this fabric goes over the line. So like I said, I'm gonna use that line as a back edge so that I have something to cut straight with my razor. We're gonna flip this over now and we're gonna do the other side. Okay, this is what you should be looking at right now. This is all really tacky around the sides. It's going nowhere. It's ready to be cut. Now, this has only been sitting like this for a couple of minutes. It's this glue is really sticky. So right now, I'm gonna do like I explained. I'm gonna go through with my my razor blade and just go through and cut all the excess fabric off. All right, and that's what you should be looking like. You should be able to see these openings for these things that go in there, and you also want those. When I say those, I'm talking about these things. You want those to have clear access. As long as it's down inside that channel there, you're good and not obstructing anything. Now, as you see here, I didn't do this on camera, but I went in and cut some reliefs out here. You don't really want to take away this material more than you just want to cut it so that everything fits back down in there. All right, now that we got this orientated correctly, it's just gonna snap in there like so. Making sure you leave your ground wire on there. Now I'm gonna now close the clamshell, okay? At the same time, making sure that this mirror stays on the outside of it. So we're just gonna slide it through there like so. All the while making sure that doesn't pop back up again and again and again, because we would like the mirror to work. All right, so now I'm going to stand up here. Now I'm going to close the clamshell like so, making sure that nothing is in the way, everything's still attached. Yeah, there we go. Just gonna close her up. Just like that. Then we're gonna take our vanity mirror and very carefully we're gonna push it down in there right after I stretch that over that, but then we're gonna push that down in there and it'll snap in there good. Okay, now that you've got your mirror snapped in, one real quick thing, there's 3 snaps down here at the bottom. You want to snap this part in first. After you've snapped your clamshell together, you want to push the top part in first, and then you'll see 3 snaps here at the bottom. You just want to take your thumb and your other part of your finger and just snap them closed, and you've got your light all put back in there, and excuse me, it's looking pretty good, but as promised, there's one more thing we're missing. This guy. So, nothing fancy, the hole is still there. Oh, the hole's still there. So we're just gonna force that into itself in there. Just like so. And we're gonna get its little companion there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you refinish a clamshell style sun visor for a 1984 to 2001 Jeep Cherokee. Now, I should probably wipe that dirt off or whatever that is, but now I have an extra extra sun visor that I don't need. If anybody needs a passenger side sun visor, hit me in a DM and you pay shipping, you can have it for free.